Hi, sorry that you guys were confused about when the live stream was starting. Hi Pat, I'm so glad to see you here. How are you guys? Let me know where you guys are coming from. What country? What time is it in your country? I feel like the time zones really confuse people. Let me see what you guys have said so far. Thank you so much for joining, Pat and Michael. I don't know if Michael's still here. And Sanders is here as well. So I'm so happy that you guys are here. And I'm gonna be playing a little bit for you guys. How are you guys? Hi! Thank you so much for joining. Just playing around. Thank you so much for joining John and Sanders and David. I really appreciate all of you guys being here. One of you guys is talking about that the sound wasn't working. I don't know what's going on with that. Sometimes there's some problems with live streams. Hi Mike, thank you so much for joining. I have a lot planned for you guys. It says that Sanders can hear it. Hi Michael. Let me know where you guys are coming from. What country? I would love to know where all of you guys are coming from. Like I said in the very beginning, whenever I do live streams, there's always some confusion about the time. I am USA Eastern Time, and so it's confusing for you guys on your end. So I really appreciate you guys showing up, being here. We're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna talk a lot of guitar talk, and I'm really always excited that you guys seem to like the live stream so much. So one of you guys is from Florida, from Russia. Wow, you guys are from all over the place. Belgium, New York, South Carolina, from Slovakia. Wow. Well, we're gonna have some fun today and talk a lot about guitars. So I have some questions that I'm gonna answer from you guys as always. There's also a little lesson planned for the middle of this live stream. I got like half of you wanted a lesson and then the other half didn't. So I think some of you guys just like to listen to music, which is just fine, and not really play it yourself. But one of the first questions I got from you guys was, do you prefer Gibson or Fenders? I prefer, although it really depends on the song, because there's a different feel that you get for a song. But in most of the songs that I want to play, they tend to be type of Gibson songs, like rock and roll songs. And I have a lot of fun playing on Gibsons. They've got a real rock and roll sound to them. I really love the humbuckers, and I did enjoy playing on Fender for country roads, because country roads really called to using a Fender. So it really does depend on the song, but in general, I am a Gibson girl, and that's what I prefer. One of you guys, Max D, wanted to know what was the hardest solo I ever worked on. It really made me start thinking about, in terms of my YouTube career and some of the videos I put on, and one of the songs that was hardest was For the Love of God. It's Steve Vai. And the thing is, when you're doing a cover, you are emulating another guitarist, which is very hard to do. Like, if, you know, I have some original songs, and if you tried to emulate my solo, it would be hard, because it's something that came more naturally to me. So I think that it's important to realize that you're doing another person's solo, and don't like beat yourself up for it. It's not going to sound exactly like them, and that's okay. Like, even I read some interviews with Jimmy Page, and he said he himself, when he does a solo, it never sounds like 100% the same as when he played it the first time. So just keep that in mind. But one of the hardest solos for me, in addition to playing Steve Vai, For the Love of God, was when I did the Van Halen jump solo. That was hard because it's Eddie Van Halen. It's really hard to emulate his exact playing style. Also, Perry Mason doing the Zakk Wylde. Playing like Zakk Wylde is hard as well, because he's got a very signature sound, and he plays very ballsy and unapologetically. So I also did lately No More Tears, and his solo, the bits, there's a lot of bluesy bits in the solo, as well as it really is fast at the end, and that was a struggle as well. I had to practice a lot with the metronome. Thank you so much, David. David's talking about my Jackson here. I get a lot of questions about this Jackson. It is a DK2S model. It has a built-in sustain. It is an amazing guitar. I really like this guitar. I've had it for a few years, and every time I play on it, I just remember how much I love this guitar. So I was just like playing some over a backing track for you guys, and it's really fun to play songs with the whammy bar. It makes it sound really magical. Another one of the questions is, you guys, I have a question from Pat Care. Thank you so much, Pat. Pat is he's been one of my followers for a long time, and he wanted to know about my current projects. So I basically live in this studio now. I don't seem to leave it. I'm always here. I'm always working on new things. He wants to know about if I'm working on my own songs, if I'm working on my CD. So I am working on my CD. There's a new song called Esperanza, which I put on YouTube. That's one of the songs that's going to be on the CD. There's also Get Out, which I worked on with Warlison. Warlison wrote that song. And we're working on new things. I'm working on a lot of new things, but they're not ready yet for YouTube. And sometimes I get a little bored with what I'm working on, and then I go back and forth, because like, when you're doing something creative, it has to always be new. And if you get bored or tired with something, you need to just give it a break. Like, let it rest, because if not, you can't really beat a dead horse. You need to like let it rest and breathe, and then come back to it. So I am working on my CD, but because of all the craziness that's going on in the world with the pandemic and everything, my CD is delayed for a lot of different reasons. I am working on things, but on a weekly basis. Like, I'm always working on things, but it's nowhere near ready yet. I thought my CD was going to be ready by the summer, and it's not. Thanks, Pat. Yeah, he says he understands. So it's delayed, and I'll be lucky if it gets finished this year, just because of some things that are, you know, the whole world is like lagging behind now because of what's going on in the world. So yeah, that's the answer to your question. I also got a really awesome question from one of my patrons, Juan. And he wanted to know, what are the advantages and disadvantages over playing on an 8-string? And I really like this question because I started playing on an 8-string a year ago, and I'm incorporating my 8-string into my CD. And so one of the advantages, well, I'll start with a disadvantage, is that it both closes some doors, at the same time it opens some doors, it closes them. And what do I mean by that? Because it's such a strange instrument to a traditional 6-string guitarist, it's like, oh, what are these 2 extra strings on here? You kind of are limited in your abilities and you have to kind of relearn how to play. But in the end, it's very rewarding because it opens up a range of possibilities. For example, you're playing a bass, like something that can sound like a bass, something that can solo and do lead work, and you're playing something that can do some awesome accompaniment. For example, I will leave a link below of the Game of Thrones. Warlison was doing the soloing, and I was doing the accompaniment and the bass parts, and it was really fun for a change. And I think that there's something really to learn from doing accompaniment work. You can learn a lot, you can really improve your timing, and it's really, really rewarding, I think. When I did classical music, I was in a guitar quartet, and I did a lot of accompaniment with what I was playing on the classical guitar, and I learned a lot. Like, it really improved my timing, and it was just really interesting to do the accompaniment, so that's my spiel on that. Another question I got from Pat was, do you like Music Man guitars? Well, the truth is, I've never played on a Music Man guitar, so I can't really answer your question because I don't know what it feels like in my hands or what it sounds like, so I'm sorry. I don't know what those sound like really, or what they, if you like them, then that's what matters. I don't know if you're thinking of buying one, but there's guitar reviews all online, so let me see if you guys have any other questions. Who would you like to jam with at this moment? Gosh, I would love to jam with Zakk Wylde. I would love to jam with David Gilmour, but I would be really, really intimidated. Some of the legends I'd love to jam with, but I'd rather just watch them do their thing because they're awesome. Let's see. Let me look at some of you guys' questions. Emily, do you still have your Ibanez gem? Yes. Oh, Deathwish Coffee, hi! Deathwish, they bring me life. Because if it wasn't for coffee right now, I don't know what I would be doing. But, you ask about my Ibanez gem. So, my Ibanez gem is not here with me right now. My Ibanez gem is actually in a different country, if that makes any sense. I will talk more about that later because I'm going to show you my guitar rig, and it's gonna be really fun. So, that's one of the other questions, guitar rig. So, I'm going to start with the Jackson. This is my Jackson. As I already mentioned, it's a DK2S model. I love this guitar. I used it in the Steve Vai for the Love of God video, and at that time I didn't have an Ibanez, but I never regretted using this guitar because it's really awesome with that built-in sustain. And I'm going to show you guys some of my additional guitar rig back here. So, we have Lady Sienna, which is an Ibanez RG80E. It is the 8-string, the very first 8-string that I've ever played on, and I really, really like this guitar. It has a wizard neck, and I would highly recommend anyone who wants to buy an 8-string to get this guitar. This guitar is from SWEETWATER, and I'm very, very happy with it. A monster, this guitar, yes. This guitar is a monster. It sounds like a monster, and it is a monster. So, that is my Ibanez, and now, going in no particular order, this is my Gibson. You guys all know about this Gibson. This Gibson is like my trademark guitar, I think. It was the very first electric guitar that I ever had, given to me by my mom. And I'm a very lucky girl because I love my Gibson very, very much. The Gibson's very heavy though. And that's another question that I'm going to get to. Going down the line, in no particular order, is the Wild Audio Odin Grail. Yeah, that's it. I love this guitar. Love it. I love everything about it. I love the way it looks. I love the way it plays. I love its shape. Just everything. Everything about it. And it's from Zakk Wylde's line of guitars, so what's not to love? Also, moving on down the line, we have this beautiful Fender. There's a blonde Fender. I plan on doing, it's a Telecaster, Fender Telecaster. I plan on doing more videos with this guitar. I don't think I've done a video with this guitar. It's a lovely guitar, has a beautiful sound. So if you want me to play on this guitar for a video, name me a song and I will think about doing that for you. And let's see here. We also have this Fender acoustic here, which is what I used on the Eric Clapton Tears in Heaven video. I used this guitar. It's a beautiful Fender acoustic. There is, oh, almost fell off this thing back here. Also, there is a bass back here. I'm not really going to bother showing that to you guys because I don't really play bass. And then there's also my Wild Audio Viking V, which is very, very cool guitar. And then my classical guitar back there. So those are my guitars that I have here. How about Dazed and Confused on the Telecaster? That is a great idea. Let me see some of you guys' comments here. 8-string is beautiful. Yes, the 8-string is very beautiful. Emily, please play solo. We will rock you. Yes, I can definitely play a Queen song. I haven't played any Queen songs yet, and I really should do that. But yes, these are the guitars that I have with me. They're great guitars, and a lot of times when I'm doing a video, I have to really think, oh, which guitar do I want to use? It just really depends on the song, you know? So, one of the other questions someone asked me is, why did you decide to start playing guitar? Who was your inspiration? I really like this question. It just happened so naturally. It's not something like I planned out, like, oh, I'm gonna play guitar now. Like, it's just, it happened really naturally. I remember, and some of you guys, I apologize because some of you guys have heard this song going on like, I don't know, 100 times now. If you have been on my live streams and watched my YouTube videos and, you know, follow me on my social media. But, so, my mother is a guitarist. She was in an all-girl band called the Bittersweets, fun fact. She has a long, huge rock history that is very cool, and she herself should talk about it more because it's very, very cool. She was a guitarist and a singer, and she had a guitar, like, you know, just in the house. And one day I saw the guitar propped up in the living room, and I thought, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna start learning that, and I picked it up, and I never stopped. That's how it worked for me. There have been points in my life where I've been really busy and I haven't had as much time to play guitar, but I've never stopped playing. Like, you know, sometimes life gets in the way and you get busy, and if you don't work as a musician, or you're in school and you're just like super focused on that, then it's sometimes you really have to balance things in life. And there was a time where I had to balance like practicing and things like that. But yeah, I've never stopped playing ever since, and that's my story. So my inspirations, excellent mother. Yes, I do have an excellent mother. I really do. Some of my inspirations, as you guys know, I'm a huge Zakk Wylde fan. He really inspired me. I really wanted to play like him because he plays super ballsy and aggressively, and no apologies are made. Like, this is me. And if you don't like it, you don't have to listen. But I also am a huge fan of David Gilmour. Huge fan. Let me start this computer again because, oh, well, I'll just restart that later. I'm going to do a lesson later, so the computer, like, I have to log into the password. So yeah, David Gilmour, Eddie Van Halen, I really like Joe Satriani, and I really love Nancy Wilson as well. I love her playing style. It's beautiful, and she's really good. So that's just a few people off the top. Oh, Jimmy Page as well. I could go on and on. Like, this list is not by any means exclusive. So going on the questions, how do I get better? This is a question from somebody. I really have trouble doing improv, and I'm hitting all the wrong notes. I'm sorry, I laugh because we've all been there. Who hasn't been at a point when they're learning an instrument and they're trying to do improv and they're just royally messing up? So I'm going to give you some advice, and I'm going to give you some fun advice and realistic advice. My advice is that I'm going to tell you to learn some of your favorite songs. Learn some stuff that is actually going to engage you and keep you motivated to practice. That's what I used to do, because it was a long, hard road playing guitar. Like, it's not easy for me. It is for everyone, has a different story, but you know, it's just for me, you know, I had my struggles as well. But for example, Steve Vai, when I played that song, I struggled. I practiced, I got frustrated, I probably cried. But don't give up, you know, just do it because you like it. And that will always keep you doing something if you like it. If you don't like something, you're gonna you're gonna curse every time you pick this thing up, you know. Do it because you like it, and do a song that you like. David Gilmour, I did those Pink Floyd songs, and I felt it, and I learned a lot. Like, when you practice somebody else's style, when you emulate their style, you're going to learn so much, things that books can't tell you. And, you know, just listening to the music and knowing when someone's doing a hammer-on or a slide, or I don't know, whatever. You can really learn by listening, and being really engaged with what you're hearing. So that's my advice for you. Also, you know, pentatonic scales. Learn the Stairway to Heaven solo. It is a pentatonic scale in A minor. That is the solo. It's beautifully done, and it's melodic, but it is used, the A minor pentatonic is used for that solo. So that's my little spiel on that. I got a really awesome comment from Scott Hubbs on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to read that for you guys because I liked it so much. He said, "Let her rip. I love your stuff at the end of Bark at the Moon. My daughter has a Les Paul. I got her from her 8th birthday, and she is your little doppelganger. She has long fingers like her Russian mom. She has been practicing that riff and says, 'Look, Papa, her fingers bleed,' and she washes them off and puts crazy glue on to create a barrier and keeps ripping. Haha." I just really like that comment because his daughter likes to listen to my music, and that means so much to me, to know that I'm influencing, you know, the younger generations of guitarists. And it was just a really sweet comment. So thank you so much, Scott, for sharing that with me. And I hope that your daughter keeps with it and, you know, doesn't stop. I hope that she genuinely keeps with it. I also got some really awesome comments from Roman K. Roman, are you here? Because you were here earlier and there was a lot of confusion about the time zone. Roman K. Anyway, he said he liked the idea of doing a live stream, and also he wanted a lesson as well, which I'm going to do in a little bit. So he said, I talked about Roman, thank you for your question. So he talked to me about what my dream guitar would be last time. And I said a Black Beauty, a Gibson Les Paul Black Beauty. And then he wanted to know if there was a certain shape, blah, 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 such as Majesty, Strattenberg, St. Vincent, Abbasi shape, would it be? And he said, like, ignore the brand lines. And I like that. I like that he said that, because a lot of people, like, they like Jackson, Gibson, Fender, blah, blah, blah. I like the Gibson shapes just because that is what I'm used to. You know, so much is about what we're used to. I just like the way the Gibson shape looks. It's just personal preference. Like, this shape to me, I really like it. I like this round shape. Versus, look, there's my Jackson, you know? Just personal preference. These guitars are both very comfortable. It's just my personal preference. I'm not saying one is better than the other. But in terms of weight, I'm not for sure. I think my Gibson weighs like 10 to 12 pounds. It's heavy. And this guitar is so light, and I really, really, really love how light this guitar is. It feels very comfortable for me to play on, which is why I chose it today. So if I could change something, if I could choose my dream guitar, I would choose a lighter guitar, Gibson shape, humbuckers, and I want a whammy, because I really am playing on whammies a lot lately, and I'm really enjoying it. And then he said he wanted to know, do you think there's enough innovation out there? Is the electric guitar dying? Do you think girls have enough role models to inspire them to play electric guitar? So I'll go through those one by one. I think there is enough innovation out there. I think that it's hard because a lot of people that are good, nobody hears. So it's about being able to put yourself out there. But this is hard too, because YouTube, there are certain things you have to have, like you have to have a computer, you have to know how to do a video, edit a video. It's hard, you know, some people don't have the means to have all these things, and they're just like locked in their basement, like practicing their guitar, but no ways to get it out there. So it's kind of complicated. There's a lot of people who are really good on YouTube. Let's see, the new Gibson's LP are chambering these guitars to take off the weight. I think that's great. Who said that? Is that Michael? Michael, thank you so much for your comment, Michael. Yeah, I read about that too, and I think that that's great, because Gibsons are really heavy, and especially if you're a smaller human like me, then that really helps to not have something so cumbersome and heavy. But I do really enjoy Gibsons, so I'm not going to pretend that I don't. They are heavy though. So do you think okay, you said, is the electric guitar dying? No, I don't think so. I think everything travels in circles, and I know that rock and roll is something that people always ask, is rock and roll dead? No, I don't think rock and roll is dead. I think that it's not as popular as it once was, but it will become more popular again, and I think it just has to be incorporated more into the popular music. And then you asked, do you think girls have enough role models to inspire them to play electric guitar? I think that there are some really great female musicians coming out of the woodworks, and I see a really bright future. So, as to answer your question, I do think that they have a lot of role models. Like, I've seen a lot of amazing female musicians, you know, and they're really good. So, it's my answer to that is very positive. And then you wanted to know, where does creativity come from? This is a very personal question. And just to give you the simplest answer, it comes from inside of you. You can be in the most beautiful place with the most like inspiring people, but if you yourself don't feel inspired, then, well, you're not going to create anything. Some of the times where I have written or like done the most creatively, I cannot say that word. When I have created the most, when I've been the most creative, have been when I have gone through the toughest times. And, you know, creativity is she's kind of sneaky, like she's sneaking around, and she comes to you at different times. The muse is creativity to me. I think of creativity in terms of the muse, but it doesn't always come when you're happy. It comes in times of trial. So it's a very personal question, and it just depends. And then you also talked about how some artists, they dream melodies and then they apply those. I have only had that happen once. I have known many people who they'd have this happen. It's very strange. They have a dream and they wake up with the dream in their head with the melody, and they have to like go immediately and write it down. It's very cool. I only had this happen once, and I remember I woke up with the melody in my head. It was when I was like 16, 17. It was very interesting, but I haven't had that happen since, so who knows why that happens. And then you said, if you could collaborate with any artist you wish from any genre, from Snoop Dogg to Hans Zimmer to Billie Eilish, how many artists would it be? Do you listen to other types of music as well, like hip-hop and flamenco, pop, blah, blah, blah? So, you're asking some really great questions. I feel like I should give you a round of applause, because these are great questions. I would love, off the top of my head, some people. I would love to collaborate with Lindsay Sterling. She is amazing. She writes her own music, and she does incredible covers that makes it entirely something different than what it was before. I also, guitar players, I would like to work with some of my idols, like Zakk Wylde, David Gilmour, even though I would be terrified at the same time because they are my idols. And then I think mixing up rock music with pop music would be really cool as well. and doing some really groovy playing along with it. Like, I really like The Weeknd. They are like R&B pop. I don't know what you call it. They're edgy, and I think that their music with some guitar parts would be very, very cool. And as for Hans Zimmer, I love Hans Zimmer, and I would love to do some very like epic playing over a Hans Zimmer track or work with him, because everything he does just touches to gold. He has the Midas touch. So the last question was, do you like the stuff you composed, or after after it's finished you think, oh man, it could be better? So yes, this is a great question, and I feel like every time you produce something into the world, you always listen back and you think this could be better, and you really question like, oh, I shouldn't have rushed this. But so many factors are into this. Like, you get excited and then you want to finish something, but yeah, I always think, you know, everything I do could be better, everything. But at the same time, when I'm on my good day, I listen back to something and I'm like, oh, I love this, and I'm really proud of it. So it just depends. Tim Bryant wanted to know, I'd love to know some of your theories, ideas, how you use it for composing. This is a great question. I'm not going to talk about this now because theory is gets really intense, and I want this to be more lighthearted, but I won't forget what you said. I think I'm going to do a YouTube lesson where I have time to edit the video and really like put a lot of work into it. So I also want to do how to create really cool chord patterns and things like that. So I'm looking to see if any of you guys have written. Yeah, so that's the end of my questions. And now it's time for a lesson. Okay? So if you yourself don't play guitar, that's okay. You can still be here for the lesson. And the lesson today is based off of some requests, which is really interesting, because at the same time that I did lessons on this already on YouTube, and I'm gonna leave them in the link of this video after I publish it. But a lot of you guys are asking about how to improve speed, how to improve alternate picking. And so the way you're gonna help really improve your speed is to really master the alternate picking technique. Alternate picking is really important. If you really like metal, you really have to master this technique before you can move up and do chicken picking and sweep picking and things like that. So today I'm just going to do this mini lesson really fast, because I think that you should really go to my YouTube lessons where I explain it. I took a lot of time with those lessons, and I'm going to do like I guess cheat lesson, which you guys listen to my lesson on YouTube, do that one. But if you start to do this lesson and you get bored, then you can do this little cheat lesson that I'm about to do. Don't tell Warlison, by the way, because he is the inventor of this lesson. I learned this lesson with him, and he would be really angry if I said cheat lesson, so shh. Okay, anyway, so, okay, this is going to focus on your right hand and your left hand. This is a chromatic scale. Let me see. This is going to be a chromatic scale. Your right hand is going to be using alternate picking. Alternate picking, like I said, is a very important technique. It's a down up stroke. And what you're going to want to do is make sure that your picking hand that's doing the alternate picking is going to do with you're going to pick with the same intensity and the same duration of the note. And like I said, this is going to be a cheat lesson, or else we'll be sitting here for hours, and I don't think anyone wants to be sitting here with me with the metronome like blasting in their ear for hours. So what I'm going to do is I've got my metronome. Grab your guitars, by the way, and please practice with me. I've got the metronome on 100 beats per minute. So we're going to do one note per beat, okay? On the first, we're going to go through the exercise. Like I said, it's a chromatic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go all the way through 1, 2, 3, 4 to the 4th fret, go up, go down, and then by the time we get to the 2nd fret, we're going to go do 2 notes per beat. And then 3rd fret, we're gonna do 3 notes per beat. You'll get the hang of it. I'm just showing you this so that you can keep this in your mind and practice this after. Because I would like to know you guys' your guitar playing level. Maybe you are advanced, because if you're advanced, you probably won't want to do this lesson. Are you beginners? Are you intermediate? Let me know. But we're going to do this lesson. Metronome is 100 beats per minute, 1 note per beat. 1, 2, 3, go. Concentrate. Now 2 notes. Sorry, I messed up. That's what happens when I talk. This is still 1 note. The next one we're gonna go to 2 notes. This is why I don't talk, you guys, when I do lessons, because I mess up. 2 notes. Fingers closed. Now about to do 3 notes. That's actually 4 notes. The reason I didn't do 3 notes, and for you guys at home who are doing this lesson, there's a reason that you do 1 note, and then you move to 2, and then you move to 3, and then you move to 4. Because when you do 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, it's like a waltz, and you're gonna get off time, and that might confuse you when you're doing the lesson. So, oh, look who came to join us. When you're doing this lesson, perhaps if you already have mastered the lesson that I've already put on my YouTube page, make sure to learn it the right way. And then after that, you can kind of skip and, you know, do it this way that I'm doing, which we won't tell Warlison, because I learned this lesson from him, and he would not like it. I'm joking, Warlison. Warlison's probably watching this, by the way. But, yes, it's a very important lesson. It will really help you. Make sure that you are keeping your pick Make sure you're keeping your pick as close to the string as possible, okay? Same duration, same intensity. And I will leave a link of the lesson below. Make sure that you are focusing. Don't be talking like me, because even I, who have practiced this lesson a lot, if I start talking, I mess up, because you have to concentrate. Especially if you're going to do the lesson like 1 note per beat, and then 2 notes, 3 notes, 4 notes. So I'm going to post the lessons right below, and please do those and let me know. Someone's talking about Jackie. Let me know what you guys think, because I really feel like it will help you. And now, because the whole point of this today is the chat, because that's what you guys asked for, let me see what you guys are asking. Awesome video. Thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed it. You should check out Victor Wooten at the 2019 NAMM show talking about music theory. Oh, yeah, I'll check him out. That sounds really awesome. Music theory has to be explained in a very special way, at least I think. Because I don't want to confuse you guys. I feel like hopefully I didn't confuse you guys in that lesson. When you're practicing, make sure that you're practicing very nice and slow and focus on what you're doing. Because if you don't, you know, you're going to mess up, and the whole point is like for it to start to be in your brain and for it to become second nature. You don't want to think about it all the time, but in the beginning you have to. So let me go through some of these questions here. Hello from London. Hi, James. Hi, Michael again. Thank you so much for joining. Hello. I cannot pronounce your name, but it looks Russian. So hello, my Russian friend, I think. João from Brazil. Olá. Olá, brasileiros. Como vocês estão? And don't laugh at me, because one of my Brazilian friends is on here, and his name is Patrick, and he He thinks it's funny when I speak in Portuguese. Lindsay Sterling, yes, she's great. David asked a question. David, I've never played on that guitar, so I don't know. I don't know about it, but if it's a Gibson Les Paul, I'll probably like it just because it's something, I just tend to really like Gibsons. Down in there, respect for other streamers. Keep the noise down there and respect for other streamers. Okay, I'll try to do that. Let's see, what effect do you use? So, to keep this short, I am using Bias FX. I had a clean tone all prepared for you guys, but I'm just using the tone that I was like practicing on doing some soulful chill out music. I was, by the way, when you guys first got on the chat, I was using a really cool backing track by Elevated Jam Tracks, and you guys should check him out. I will also post the link to his backing track because he makes really awesome, beautiful backing tracks. So I'm using Bias FX to get the sound, Bias FX2. On this particular, I'll pull it up for you guys. Bias FX2, it's pulling up there. And it's a very basic sound that I'm using. I'm using a gate, distortion drive, an amp of my choice, and some reverb. So, did you check out Amp 1 by Bluebird Guitar, Jennifer Batten? Let me see what you said. I haven't checked out that particular amp yet, but now that I know that Jennifer Batten uses it, I'm gonna have to check that out. So, keep asking me questions or else I'm gonna say adieu to you guys. But I do want to address something really important. So, as you guys know, okay, on Patreon, should post screenshot presets. Oh yes, I will on Patreon. I'm so glad that you brought that up. So, Michael is one of my patrons. And I might have a few other patrons. If you're a patron, raise your hand, you know, emoji, internet hand raise. So I have a Patreon page, and I try to be discreet about it, but there's no reason to. I would really, really, really like some of you guys to join my Patreon page. There's a lot of reasons for that. So I make my livelihood out of music. I do YouTube and I do Patreon, and that's it. That's how I survive. So if you like what I do, please join my Patreon page. I will leave a link below in the description. I do all kinds of stuff there. I'm showing hi Paul, thank you so much for joining. Paul is one of my patrons as well. My patrons and I, we're really good friends, and they can speak for themselves about the content there. I'm constantly posting stuff, and I really would love to have you guys join. You can send me a request, and I can do that for you, as well as I have guitar tips, just like all kinds of content, vlogs, behind the scenes, some funny stuff, some photos, things like that. So I would love for you guys to join my Patreon page, because right now, with the craziness in the world, you know, we're stuck at home. We aren't doing live shows or gigs or anything like that. So if you guys could join, I would really appreciate it. And the minimum cost is $1. $1 to join. So if you have any questions, please send them below about Patreon, and I will answer them. And if you join and you don't like it, you can always get rid of it. I will leave a link to the Patreon, but I can promise that you guys will like it, because I'm very conscientious about like the amount of content that I put for you guys, because it's for you guys to support me and for me to keep making music videos. So Jackie also said he would like to join my Patreon, but he doesn't know how it works. So I'm gonna make sure that all you guys know how it works. And that's my spiel on that. I have a lot of fun with it. So I also really like my patrons there. Can you play some acoustic? Yes, name me a song, and perhaps on the next live stream I will do an acoustic song. I've been really listening to a lot of acoustic lately, and I would like to do some more YouTube videos featuring acoustics. So, you guys, this has been really fun. Keep the questions coming. I'm going to end the live stream at around 1 hour. But it's always awesome talking with you guys, and I really appreciate all you guys' support. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that somebody asked me on my live stream before that I didn't get to. Let's see. Can you play Recuerdos de la Alhambra? I can. I have, let's see. There was a song that I really liked that I used to play on my classical guitar, but I don't remember it right now. That I've played so many. Like I said, I used to be in a quartet. Paco de Lucia. Yes, I could, but he is Paco de Lucia. He was absolutely incredible. Let's see. So I have a lot of plans. I'm working on a lot of new videos at the same time. If you want to know what they are, I will be talking about on Patreon. And also, like, if you want to see how I do my videos as well, sorry to keep talking about Patreon, but I do all my behind the scenes. It's on Patreon as well. So I did this solo for Smoke on the Water. And do you want me to do the whole song? Is that what your suggestion? Is that what you're suggesting? Because I could do that. Sorry, my cat's going crazy behind me. I have to move him. Sorry, Jackie. He both loves to come in here, and he hates it at the same time because he hates the guitar. He's very jealous of it, and he wants to eat the strings. So whenever I'm playing, he's trying to find a way to eat the strings off my guitar, which is amusing, but also really hard when I'm trying to play and learn how to play guitar. But again, I want to thank you guys so much. Can you play let's see, Wish You Were Here? Yes, I have been planning to do that song for some time, but it has to be perfect because I'm a huge fan of that song. So if I do that song, it has to be completely 100%. But it's on my song list. I have a really long song list, and that's on the list. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me here, and let's do another one. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know if you want another lesson. I'm going to leave the lessons below. Hi, Adrian. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm going to tie this thing up. Thank you guys so much for joining. And I'm so sorry about the confusion. I think that the time zones really throw everybody off. Another thing that throws people off is that for some reason I can't seem to do a premiere. It seems to be weird whenever I try to set up a premiere on YouTube. Usually the premieres don't confuse people because it says the time, but I have to do it in this way where it says, like, I make the video public, but it says, for example, 12 o'clock, and my live stream is supposed to be like at 3 o'clock, so I think that confuses everybody. Hi, The Night. Thank you so much for joining, and you guys, I'm sending a lot of love your way. I really appreciate all of you guys. I'm going to send a link below for Patreon and the lessons that I talked about. And I hope you guys are staying safe and playing a lot of guitar. And it's so good to chat with you guys. And I'll be talking to you guys soon. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye, if I can turn this off. Bye, guys.